Well, hello, and welcome everybody back to another Howell Wildlife Photography live stream. We are happy to have everybody back here on the show. We've got a really exciting program here for you. We are talking about astrophotography. So this is night sky photography. This is some of the most beautiful, mind-blowing kind of photography that is out there, which I still do think falls under the umbrella of wildlife photography because, of course, it involves being outside, being in the outdoors, and capturing nature in the most amazing way, and that is through the night sky. So we've got 4 photographers today that are going to be presenting photos and talking about their pictures. And before we get into the presentations, I just do want to remind everybody about the Howell Wildlife Photography Convention happening November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023. A gathering of the most passionate wildlife photographers in the world, or in Ontario, and we've got some incredible speakers lined up. Headliner Johnny Marriott, Sam Stevens, and Jillian A. Brown at the moment. If you want to check out more of our itinerary and what's included in the program, please head on over to howellphotocon.com. In the past, we've had some incredible speakers such as Chris Gilmore. We've had Connor Thompson, a wolf researcher, Melissa Grew, and Michael Runts. And that was speakers that we've had in the past. And we always try to include an eclectic lineup of not only photographers that are exceptional, but also wildlife enthusiasts or researchers as well. So it's a very exciting weekend, all happening here in Whitney, Ontario. So that's us at Howell. But today we want to look at and talk about astrophotography. So up first, we've got Richard Mann. Richard Mann is going to start off our presentation today. Richard, are you there on the line?
How's it going?
Going great. Let me get your video up on here. Just a second. And what I want to do here is let's get your photos. Just a moment here. Let's get these photos up. So yeah, night sky photography. How long have you been shooting night skies for?
Officially or unofficially?
Officially.
I've been shooting. I've shot night skies, sort of really good getting into it. Probably for a good 15 years or so, I would guess.
Wow.
But my first sort of go at it was when I was a teenager. I went. It used to be called the Algonquin Space Campus. It was a summer camp at the Radio Observatory on Lake Traverse.
Yes. I've never been to the observatory, but I am familiar. I've seen it, like canoeing on Lake Traverse, and you see it way in the back, right?
Yeah. We'll say they used to run a summer camp for about 3 years when I was a teenager there.
Yeah.
So I went there, and first 3 days of the days you were kind of doing a set sort of thing, and then the last 2 days was a project that you did on your own.
Cool.
And a group of us on the 1 year did astrophotography.
Cool.
So we did unfortunately the camera jammed after the first shot, so we only got one shot of the Big Dipper, but that was my first foray into astrophotography, and I really liked it.
Wow.
And then get cameras and stuff like that, and just play a little bit here and there, but I really started getting into it probably, I'm gonna guess, about 15 years ago.
Yeah. Awesome. And how is it different from the other wildlife photography that you do?
Well, say it's dark. Typically you're dealing with exposures that are longer exposure sort of thing, because you need to let that light into the camera so you can actually get the shots. And then some of the processing stuff afterwards, sometimes you have to take several shots and then merge it together to get enough of the detail out of it too. So there's a lot of learning on the processing side of things as well.
Yeah. So it's quite technical, eh?
It can be sort of thing, but really enjoyable sort of thing, especially when you get that shot that, like, wow, look at what I've got.
Yeah.
This is the first picture up. This is my first really good shot of the Milky Way that I got one night.
Wow. And what year was this photo taken of?
Oh God. I think this was probably about 8 years ago, I'm gonna guess.
Wow. All right. And what you just, so this is like the first photo of the Milky Way that where you were like, yeah, I got it?
I got it. The stars are all sharp. The trees in the foreground are sharp. Um, at this point, I was like, say, at this point, I was probably still using my Nikon D610, so I didn't have live view at the time, sort of thing. So sometimes getting the stars pin sharp was a big challenge for me early on because I didn't have live view. I'd have to take a shot, try to adjust, and it was very technically challenging. Once I got live view on my cameras, it made life a whole lot easier.
Wow. And I'm by no means a night sky expert, but what you just said are problems and challenges that I encounter is getting the horizon in focus and the stars themselves. It's just the focusing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was actually a night. There was a large group of us started meeting up in the park during the afternoon. We went to have dinner at Steve's, and there was 17 of us at the table having dinner at Steve's that night at the Mad Musher. And then once the skies got dark, people went out and met out at a few locations sort of thing, and then all congregated at Lake of Two Rivers, and that's where this shot was taken, at Lake of Two Rivers, at the parking lot at the there.
Beautiful. And isn't it interesting how night photography is kind of a social activity, eh?
It can be. Say you, especially with it being dark, you kind of want to do it with someone else, at least one other person there, because when you're out there by yourself, it can be a little freaky at times. There was one instance where I was out doing a shoot at Arrowhead Park.
Yeah.
I was kind of just doing some star trail sort of thing, and all of a sudden I heard some grunting in the forest.
Oh.
At that point, I quickly packed up my camera and left because I'm not dealing with grunting.
Oh my God. Well, what do you think it was?
I have no idea. I'm saying it was a moose. I'm probably thinking it was a bear.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that is quite freaky.
So it was just like, I'm a little nervous at this point. I'm by myself. You know what? The pictures. I want to live to see the next day.
Yeah, for sure. Or like, could you imagine if you're taking pictures at night and your car doesn't start for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
And it's wintertime.
Yeah. So you got to make sure you're prepared for sort of things. So have a blanket in your car, some emergency supplies in the car, so that if you are stuck, you've got some stuff to at least keep you warm and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow, what a beautiful representation of the Lake of Two Rivers night sky. Just awesome. All right, let's go to, where's my next? Here we are. Okay. Wow.
So this was a Milky Way shot probably taken about 3 years ago. So this is at the point where I've got my mirrorless camera at this point.
Okay.
My ability to focus on the stars has gotten a lot better, and my processing things have gotten a little bit better too, sort of thing. So this is again, things are getting a little bit better at this point.
Yeah.
I've had more practice at it.
Yeah.
It's one of the challenges for me is because I work Monday to Friday, I can only kind of shoot typically on weekends.
Right.
And you got to also worry about clouds. So sometimes, I'm great, I can go shooting tonight. Damn it, clouds.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That comment that you just made about feeling yourself getting better and visually seeing your shots also improving. That is one of the most exciting feelings of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Like say, it's nice to go back in your shot to see where you started and where you've come along the way. Like it just boosts you a little bit more to get you out there more and trying to do more things.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, Susan Oling is online here writing in. Susan says, I love hearing the sounds at night and trying to figure out what made it. I love hearing the loons at night. Sometimes you'll hear some wolves howling in the distance. Yeah.
The grunting right beside you, that's a little freaky at times.
Yes. And Susan also asks, Costello Creek, question mark?
Yeah, this is at Costello Creek.
Correct. Susan.
If I'm remembering correctly, this is the first pond area, so this is not this is not at Cholo Rock.
Okay, the first pond. Nice. That is just gorgeous. Have you ever counted all the stars in your pictures?
No, God, no. There's too many.
There are way too many.
And think of it, and when you think about it, when you're just seeing visible stars in there, in the black, there are stars that you can't see. So there's more stars in the picture that you just can't see.
It's so true. I mean, even the Northern Lights, right? Like your camera is going to be picking up more of the light show than your eye is seeing as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can't see the Northern Lights without the camera.
Wow. But that's why you've got a camera with you, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Ooh, all right. I love it when photographers are able to capture stars in the reflection in the water.
Yeah, so this was actually a shot taken probably, I think it was last year that I took this shot. This is at Poverty Lake out just around Whitney area.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And this shot is actually got a little bit better at it. So this is actually, I've taken the Milky Way shot about 5 times, combined it through some software, and then blended the foreground shot of the reflection with the combined shot of the Milky Way in the background to create a little bit more depth in the picture. And this actually shot is one shot that I've just sold. I just recently had a photography show at the Chapel Gallery called The Soul of Algonquin. And this was a shot that actually sold, that I sold.
Wow.
So I was pretty happy at that.
Wow. A huge congratulations. That must have been a really exhilarating feeling.
It was. Like I said, it's my first photography show, so I was a little nervous. Thankfully, I had 2 other photographers that were part of the show as well who'd done the show previously, so I was able to glean some knowledge from them to make it a little bit better and easier for myself to figure out how to do things at certain times. And it went really well. I sold 3 pieces, so I was very, very happy.
Very cool. Oh yeah, again, congratulations on the show. That is just so cool.
Thank you.
And Susan also says, I saw them once with my bare eyes in Alberta.
Oh.
And Susan is also passing along the big congratulations for you as well.
Thank you, Susan.
Ooh, I think there's am I seeing some Northern Lights?
You're seeing some Northern Lights. This was about 2 years ago, I'm thinking, and actually I shot this with Susan.
Really?
There was some potential Northern Lights going on the one night. This was actually after a really big storm. And went up to Novar and met her in Novar area, and the show only lasted about 15 minutes. So I had it set for a time lapse, just keep shoot to see what I got, and lo and behold, got some shots of the Northern Lights there. And actually, I got enough there that I actually created a little bit of a clip that lasts for like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds sort of thing, of the Northern Lights starting out, flashing across the sky, and then kind of fading out a little bit.
Very, very cool. Wow.
So this is actually my really first good shot of Northern Lights. I have shot the Northern Lights probably once before, where I got some shots of the lights. Yep. I was with one of our fellow presenters, Wesley, came out with a camera, sort of thing. Called one night and said, "You want to come out?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
It's my first time shooting Northern Lights, sort of thing. So my settings were off, my focus was off, my timing was not that great. So like I said, I got this big orange sky sort of thing, but really wasn't a phenomenal picture sort of thing by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So this is my first real good shot of Northern Lights, because I've been out several times to try to get the shots, but the lights have bypassed us. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? You have to, like, that's how you get better, is by just trying and
absolutely
learning from your mistakes. You don't necessarily have to show your early portfolio material, but me, I'm like a photography hoarder.
Yep.
I have way too much old bad material, but I don't know, there's something about it that it's like I want to keep it so that I can look back to it and learn from it or something like that.
Or sometimes it's just the memory of it sort of thing.
Yes.
Sort of thing, because I say the next picture we are going to be discussing that.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, Susan's writing in with some more comments here. Yeah, us in the Old Marsh. Okay, so guess you were in Old Marsh. We could walk on the snow then. Yeah, that is one of the really advantageous things about night sky photography in the wintertime is, you have access to the lakes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And Susan also agrees, we learn by trial and error.
Oh yeah, say learn from your mistakes. You're going to make them, may as well learn from them.
Exactly. Okay, this one is very explosive right here.
Yeah, so this was Perseid meteor shower. Kind of my first time. Actually, this is probably my first time going out shooting the meteor showers. It's not, technically the picture's not that great. The tree is fuzzy. The colors are off in the Milky Way, stuff like that. This is with my old D300, I think. Again, this was shot with Cowboy with a camera.
Oh yeah.
And Wes's reaction when he sees really cool things is always awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we had this fireball go through the sky, like Wes was just ecstatic.
Wow.
And thankfully, my camera it was pointing in the right direction to get the fireball.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And you know, like I love that you kept this photo despite the fact that it does have a few minor technical flaws, because it's still so meaningful.
Maybe it's technically not the greatest, but it means a lot to me. And when the person comes to shove, the picture has to mean something to you for it to matter at all.
Exactly. Yes. Susan's typing in. It's just like me saving my very first oil painting or old.
Exactly.
Painting. Yeah. Susan also says, "Oops," or Susan says, "Nice meteor." And Tabby Press also writes in, "It is lovely, very dramatic." I agree. It is so dramatic. So cool. Wow.
It can pass as a painting.
It can pass as a painting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little abstracty.
Yeah. All right. Are we seeing another comment in this?
This is another meteor shower. This again is the Perseid meteor shower. It was actually taken over at west of Huntsville at a place called Buck Lake.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more of a, like I said, it's not as big and bright as the previous meteor sort of thing, but it was kind of cool. The colors in it you can see. Say again, my technical abilities are a lot better at this point because this is probably about. Was this last year? Maybe it was last year. I think it might have been last year.
Yeah.
My technical ability is a little bit better. So the black of the foreground is a little bit sharper. Say the glow in the foreground is one of the cottages around the lake sort of thing. So you got that nice little definition around the cottages of the lake sort of thing. So it's just my technical abilities get better, so my pictures are getting a little better.
Yeah.
And like I say, when I'm shooting the Milky Way or the comets like this, I'm usually shooting it as a time lapse. So I'm taking one picture right after the other, which will generate the next picture we're going to see.
Yeah. Wow. Gotta love the night sky, eh?
Absolutely.
Whoa. Okay, we were talking about meteors and stuff.
So this is a bunch of meteors. This is a composite shot. So I've taken the one picture to get the general image, and then I've taken the pictures with every picture with a meteor or comet or not comet, meteor strike in it, and I've just kind of blended that meteor strike into this picture. So you've got all the meteor strikes that I got. One was out shooting.
Wow. And Susan says, "Oh, very cool, Richard." Helen E. Gross is online, says, "Wow, so awesome."
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was my first composite of the meteor strikes that I've done like this, and it turned out I think really well.
Yeah. It's just a fantastic idea. And now, are those campsites or cottages that we're seeing on the?
Those are cottages. So there's kind of the lights around the cottage that are lighting it up, sort of thing.
Yeah. What time of day is this one?
This picture was probably taken, I'm gonna the main shot was probably taken, I'm gonna guess around 11 o'clock or so, 11:30ish. That would be my best guess. And like I said, I'm just taking continuous pictures, probably like 8-second shots continuously through till probably I think we were there till probably about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So it's just the meteor strikes varies throughout that time frame sort of thing. So like I said, the composite, it's a long period of time, but like I say, just the meteor strike out of the shot sort of things, and then I blended in.
Yeah. Wow. Whoa. Do you call this? Is this a star trail? Is that what you call this?
Yes, this is a star trail.
Wow, that is so psychedelic.
So this was actually taken with Cowboy with the Camera and Steve at one night, and Helen was actually there that night, sort of thing. It was about 2 years ago, I guess it was, maybe 3, that there was supposed to be this great big meteor shower going on, or Northern Lights show going on that night. So the 4 of us kind of went out there, and we're going to try to shoot it. Unfortunately, the meteor shower bypassed us completely. But while we're waiting, as well, may as well shoot something. So I just started shooting a time lapse to get the star trail out of it.
Wow.
This is pointing north,
Yep.
so that's why you get the circle around the North Star.
Oh, okay, okay. And so this image, how I've never done a star trail photo before, but so your shutter is open for a really long period of time. Is that how it works?
I'm taking about 30-second pictures here.
Okay.
And then I use for this one, I used a program called Star Stacks that blended them all together to create those 30-second shots, blend them all together sort of thing to create the star trail.
Wow. Absolutely stunning. And now, are those nests of some kind in the trees there?
I think they're, Steve can comment there a little bit better, but I think they're great blue heron nests. Yeah, Steve's nodding his head yes.
Yeah. I was on mute.
Yeah. That's just stunning. I just love how, and Susan says, ooh, trippy. I agree.
Yeah, they can be fun to take. It's just sometimes the merging can be a bit of a challenge. Lately, when I've taken star trails, I've been having a lot of gaps in them. I'm not sure why. Might have something to do with my mirrorless camera, not compared to my the old DSLR. But I've got to, again, trial and error. You make mistakes, got to learn from it and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Ooh, DSLRs. There's such old technology, right? So some of us like me still haven't made the jump to the mirrorless.
That's like any technology. There's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah. I feel like an aging dinosaur now. I love that you included a vertical one, and now we've got like a landscape orientation here.
So this was actually at Smoke Lake, and it's pointing east. And if you notice, sort of thing, towards the left side of the picture, the stars are curving one way, but as you go through it, they start to get straighter, and then as you go further to the right, they start to curve the other way.
Right.
When you're photographing east to west, you are going to get the curve, show like say where the lines go straight because of the axis of the Earth. So at one point it's straight, and then as you go south, you get the curvature southwise and the curvature northwise when you go north.
That's why. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I can look at this image all day long. It's so cool.
Yeah, so a lot of people will just shoot north to get that spin around the sun, but shooting east to west can be actually pretty cool to get the shots you get as well.
Yeah. And I love it when photographers go against the grain, like you just said too. A few comments coming in here. Tabby Press is cool, and Corey Campbell also with a big wow. So the audience out there is just loving it.
Well, thank you very much.
Ooh. I love how we go from all those super like tons of stuff happening to this like negative space.
Yeah, just a simple crescent moon. The moon's sometimes when you're doing astrophotography, you don't want the moon in the sky because it's going to interfere with all that light.
Yeah.
Getting your shots, but sometimes getting some shots of the moon can be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Here, I'm just going to zoom in just because that's wow, and you can actually see the textures on the moon too.
But yeah, see all the craters.
That is mind blowing.
So this is kind of my kind of first shots with my camera. This is not with a star tracker sort of thing.
Yeah.
You use Star Tracker, you can actually get a little bit more detail and stuff like that, which hopefully I'm going to get a little practice on that this summer, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of this, is that there's always something for you to learn and to improve in, and
yeah, and there's always something to shoot in the sky.
And there's always something to shoot in the sky. Yes.
Unless there's clouds.
Clouds could be kind of cool too, but
they can be. But if they completely cover the sky, it's a little bit of a.
I know. Love the color of this moon shot.
So this is a lunar eclipse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So sometimes referred to as a blood moon.
Blood moon.
I think this was the lunar eclipse. Was it one last year or the year before?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was the one that was last year, I believe. And I was actually just shooting this kind of almost in my backyard, sort of thing.
Wow.
This was I think we were just getting to the coverage of the moon, and then the clouds rolled in, and I couldn't get anything else beyond that.
Yeah. Well, you got that little window of time.
Yeah.
And
Actually, no. This wasn't. This was not last year. This was the freezing ass cold one that I shot with Cowboy with the camera.
Oh, okay.
This was actually shot in Bala. Or no,
Ah.
not Bala. Was it? Oh, Wes, where was this?
Was that Rosso?
Rosso. That's right, Rosso.
That's in Rosso. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a cold night because this was what, January.
Very cold.
Say it was minus 26, I think, without the wind chill.
Okay. And was it windy?
Windy. It wasn't too windy, but it was just cold.
Yeah.
And my camera actually froze up as we got just past totality of the eclipse.
Wow.
And then say my shutter and everything froze, and I was done that night.
Wow. And I love that you've given us the other moon photo, and now we have the full moon photo. And then Susan's chiming in here, says, "Love it, better than a full moon." Commenting on the previous one with that little slice.
Yeah. So yeah, when I'm say. Like a full moon, it can be great, but those crescents, and sometimes it can get some really neat shots with the crescents and the various stages of the moon.
Yes. There's something dramatic about the crescent, eh?
Yeah.
And Corey Campbell is saying here, freezing was right. I was out shooting the blood moon over the lake in Toronto. Much colder where you were, though.
Yes.
All right, what's going on here? Is this also a comet?
This is Comet Neo. This is Comet Neowise.
Okay.
So unlike a meteor, which is a quick, fast blast in the sky, the comet orbits will orbit sort of thing. And Neowise put on a grid show for us that year sort of thing. It's not going to be back for I think another couple million years, or 1,000 years or something like that. So this was actually taken at Turtle Rock. So you got the comet in the sky, and then there's a glow in the horizon. There was a car coming down the road from where Opiongo is.
Yeah.
And at the time I put the shot, all of a sudden saw that car coming. It's like, oh crap, it's going to ruin the shot. Thankfully, the shutters closed up before the car actually crested there. So you got that nice glow kind of around the trees on the foreground, which I think really makes the shot really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very unique.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shots in Neowise that I got.
Cool. Wow. Absolutely mind-blowing. Ooh. Now, is that the sun in the horizon there? Or is that a moon or something?
That is moonrise.
That's a moonrise.
Yeah. So this was actually taken the same night as that vertical star trail that I took with Steve, Helen, and Wes.
Okay.
We had at this point we were basically just almost packing up at this point because the moon was rising, so we weren't going to potentially get any aurora shots at that point. And the moon would have washed it out too, sort of thing. So once we started moonrise, we decided we were going to pack up there. Yeah. But I grabbed a shot of the moon rising on the horizon, sort of thing, to get that sort of landscapey shot there, which I thought was pretty cool.
Very cool. The fact that it looks like a sunrise with a starry night, that's so cool.
Yeah. So the fun thing about when you got full moon shots is you can go out and actually do landscape photography with the full moon. You'll have to have your shutter open for like maybe 2-3 minutes, but you can actually get a landscape shot that looks like daylight because the moon is just reflected daylight. It's just you have to have it open for a long period of time. Yeah. And you'll get stars in the background too, which can kind of make people really kind of like, what's going on? How did you do that?
Yeah. It's very surreal. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, I think that might be the final image in your...
Yes, that is my final shot for the evening.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. That was an incredible presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we can check you out, PhotoRM22 at Instagram, correct?
That's correct. That is correct.
All right. So for all of the folks out there that are watching and that want to see more of Richard's amazing work, that's PhotoRM22 at Instagram. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that presentation.
Oh, you're welcome, Buggo.
It's always, and so Susan says, thank you, Richard. Tabby says, thank you. And Helen also says, great selection.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Absolutely love it. Thank you. All right. Well, you can take a break there on the call now that you're out of the spotlight. Up next, we have Wesley Lee Kane also known as Cowboy with the Camera. Wesley, are you there on the call?
I am. How's it going, Bongo?
Oh, it's going great. It's going great. Let me just load some of my technical things here, and I'm gonna get we're gonna get your information here. So it's cowboywiththecamera.com if people want to check out more of your work, right?
Yes.
Okay, super. And I just want to make sure that I can get your video here. Hold on, everybody. Okay, there. Now I see Wes. All right, but like what we want to see, you've got a great face, but what we want to see here is there we go. All right, so we're loaded. We're locked and loaded here. All right, well, welcome to the program. I think this is your first presentation on our stream here. We actually had you present at the very first ever Howl. That was back in 2019, I believe it was. And,
yes.
And we were so honored to see some of your amazing photos at that presentation. But yeah, you've been shooting night sky photography. Have you been shooting it as long as Richard has, for 15 years or longer?
Maybe less.
Maybe less. Oh yeah. And
I've been shooting consistently probably longer than Richard, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Agreed.
I've been shooting for about 11 years, I think now. This will be my 11th year of Astro.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I always have this impression that you just never sleep.
Well, sleep's okay sometimes.
Sleep's okay sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if there's anybody that is like super dedicated to getting the perfect night sky shot, yeah, Cowboy with the Camera. That's that's the place to go. Just somebody checking in here, Joe Rogue is saying, checking in for the first time. Great stuff so far. Okay, thank you for cheering us on. So yeah, Wes, if you want to jump in here and yeah, let's start with this moon photo. What's going on here?
So with this moon photo, it's called Earthshine.
Earthshine.
And I liked photographing the moon, but then it's like, okay, can we learn? Can we get better? As Richard was saying, it's all about, progressing.
Yeah.
So I was learning about how I could take multiple photos of the moon and stack them.
Okay.
To reveal more detail. So I believe this is 150 images of the moon.
Wow.
Stacked with a program called Reggie Stacks.
Okay.
And then that helps reveal the dark, like the shadowed side of the moon, as well as the light side of the moon.
Yeah, so this is kind of like an HDR image of the moon, right? Is that...
Well, it's all the same exposure the entire time.
Okay.
And then it's just more being able to pull out more shadows than usual without having, like, noise.
Okay. All right, so this is one frame, but then you use the program to extract a lot of information from that one frame. Am I understanding that right?
Like I took basically a time lapse. I had it on a tracker, consistently tracking the moon, taking about 150 images.
Wow.
And then take the best of those and stack them together to get a better histogram that you can stretch more.
Cool. Wow. And yeah, talk about detail. I see so many craters on this one, just stunning. And I love the use of the negative space, centered too. That's pretty bold as well.
Yeah, the moon it's a lot of fun just to be out at night, and then the moon's out a lot of the time, so you might as well photograph it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Susan says, major work or what? I know, I agree. Just awesome.
It's shooting, it's the quick part. Yeah. It's the getting home and processing it after is the long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could spend hours in front of my computer processing, right?
Yeah.
So we go from that beautiful negative space moon shot to this is pretty bold night sky photography photo. Let's hear a bit more about this one here.
Now this is I was on my way to Michigan, I believe. This is actually photographed in Barrie, though.
This is in Barrie, okay.
And I was driving through, and I saw all these light pillars, and I believe it was negative 30 something that night.
Oh yeah.
So with the ice crystals in the air, the light tends to shoot upwards. So I was like, as Richard says, I freak out over things.
Yeah.
So I'm in the car like, oh my god, like a little kid. I'm like, I gotta find a place to... Where can I go? So I drove really quickly into Barrie to try to find some sort of landscape to shoot.
Yeah.
But with in -30, the roads are icy, so I'm like, I better go somewhere, not just park in the middle of a road. I better go safely, park somewhere, and look for some shots. And this was just probably the most amazing light pillars I had ever seen.
Wow. Very
So
cool.
just goes to show you can shoot it in the city too and still have fun.
Well, yeah, there's almost something punk about this image because like, who takes night sky photos in a place with tons of artificial lighting, right?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a anti-conventional. It's really unique. Very cool. In Barrie of all places as well. Okay.
Yeah, you have to photograph wherever you can when stuff like this happens, right?
Absolutely. All right. Whoa. Okay. Star Trail time. Yeah.
I wanted to show a mixture of kind of everything. So I believe this one is almost 800 pictures in a time lapse.
Wow. Does that?
This
take
is
up a
one of
whole-
those.
Is that a whole hard drive?
It tends to be hard drives by the time you're all done.
In plural. Okay, I don't even want to ask how many memory cards then.
No, but like this was probably, or I think this photo is probably 8 years old.
Okay.
So this was in my earlier time of astrophotography, and I was very out there. Probably every night it was clear I was out. There was not a night.
Wow.
So my parents lived down the road from the Torrance Barrens.
Right.
So it's a dark sky area usually. It's not as much of a dark sky area anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I went there and then I photographed all night. And you don't sleep. When the sun rises, it's time to go to bed.
See, that's it. It's like you never sleep. Well, I guess you sleep it when the sun rises.
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah. Very cool. Another super site. It's like the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings or something. Really neat. Okay, we have a whole bunch of comments. For the other one, nice ice pillars from Susan. Beautiful pillars as well from Joe. Tabby says, wonderful. Joe says, I love doing star trails, learning a lot from you all. And that's really cool to hear, Joe, because, yeah, we want to inspire people and to hopefully have some people learn some new stuff here. And then Susan's also writing in here, actually, the air glow adds to the drama. Oh,
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
it does. It really does. Yeah, super.
It adds that like color. Sadly, I really do not like light pollution, but sadly, it adds some good contrast to the photos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little bit of a dark sky radical purist as well. But I mean, if like similar to what we saw in Richard's presentation, sometimes you can use artificial lighting to add some neat stylistic elements to the work, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't say I've ever taken a photo like this in my entire life. This is very, I don't even know what I'm looking at here. It's a galaxy, perhaps?
So this is the Horsehead Nebula in Orion.
Wow.
So if you know the Orion constellation,
The only reason why I'm familiar with it is because of the movie Men in Black.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
But it's a very easy constellation to see. So on the left-hand side of the belt would
Yeah.
be this here, the Flame Nebula on the left, and then the Horsehead Nebula on the right.
Wow.
And this is where you get advantages of having a dark sky, because this is just photographed in the backyard.
Wow. Wow.
But multiple images, lots of processing.
Yeah. Yeah. Corey says, one of my favorites of yours.
Thank you,
And-
and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we got a dozen people watching right now, so that's super exciting. Thank you everybody for tuning in and sharing some enthusiasm for the dark sky here and some of the amazing talent.
So Bongo,
Yes.
that picture right there is one of part of my tattoo. This piece right here.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Took it from him and I put it on my arm.
Whoa. That's unbelievable. Wes, what does it feel like knowing that somebody has your image tattooed on them?
That makes me really happy.
I think
Feels that people really like it.
I think that's like the most flattering thing that any artist can experience. But and I mean, it makes for an amazing tattoo as well. when we were doing
Yeah.
our sound check, I couldn't help but comment on Kenny's incredible sleeve tattoo there, and perhaps we'll get a closer look at it at Kenny's presentation following this one. That's thank
Yeah,
you.
that's amazing.
Thank you for that fun fact. That was that was extremely appropriate. I love it. Okay, all right, we have some ruins in this one here.
Now, so one of my favorite things with astrophotography is traveling
Yes.
and seeing new places and seeing, like, it's amazing where the night sky. So when I book a night, like a trip, I actually base it around a new moon usually. That way I can either chase northern lights, get the Milky Way, one of the above.
Of course.
So here is ruins in Oklahoma in the Black Mesa Desert.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, it's a desert area kind of on like the outskirts of Kenton
Wow.
in the Panhandle. And I have some friends in Oklahoma. We'd meet up out there, go photograph. I usually lead a workshop out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could physically see your shadow from the Milky Way in the sky. It was so dark out there.
Wow. Wow. And it's really too bad that true dark skies are becoming more and more rare as population expands, as development expands. Even your comment earlier was that the Torrance Barrens is less of a dark sky now. Did I hear that correctly?
There's so much light pollution and development around Bala and Gravenhurst that it's created a dome of light pollution. So it's, if you look straight up, it's dark, but
Okay.
anywhere along the horizon, there's light pollution everywhere now. So
Oh, shoot.
it's very unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not against people from the city, but there is a lot of city people going there right now, especially with the Northern Lights recently. There was a big splurge of people going there.
Right. Right.
It was basically traffic on a back road, and Ken has been on some trips with us where you can't, like, it's just one lane of traffic. People don't care about traffic or lights or anything. And it's like, you got to respect the people in the dark sky.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, the whole theme of Howl is ethical photography. So if I mean, I like your message that it's like, yeah, when we're out there photographing, like, let's be nice, nice to each other, and also nice to the animals and the wildlife, and also respectful to the dark sky, and let it just be naturally dark, and allow other folks that are trying to take photos of it let's keep it beautiful, right?
Yeah, just remember, we're not the only ones out there, right? So there's etiquette for a reason.
Etiquette and ethics, 100%. Yeah. Susan Oling is saying, wow, this one is stunning. Susan was also asking a question. Has anyone shot a dark sky at the Barren Canyon? I can't say that.
I've gone out there, but it doesn't line up with the Milky Way that well. So I'm pretty picky.
I've not been to the Barren Canyon yet, so not yet.
Depending on the direction you shoot, you're probably going to get Petawawa, Pembroke.
Right. Yeah.
But the Star Trail would be gorgeous there. Hint, hint.
Bucket list ideas. And Susan says, okay, I hear you, honey. All right. Ooh, is this... Well, this is obviously a boardwalk.
Most people would know where this boardwalk is.
Is this the Spruce Bog boardwalk?
Yes.
It is. All right. Wow.
And this is probably one of my earlier images as well.
Yeah.
And I remember going there and going like, I know a certain time of year the Milky will line up with this boardwalk.
Yeah.
So I used an app called Photo Pills.
Okay.
And I scanned forward in time and looked on my phone, held up my phone, and it has like a AI of the foreground. And I'm like, when is the Milky Way going to line right there? Okay, so that time of year is when I got to go there. So being up at the Mad Musher all the time, it's like, go into the park, photograph, and if it's clear, you're going to go. And then hopefully it's at the right time of year when there's no moon, when everything lines up, and then you get lucky like this.
Wow. It's pretty
I love the air glow.
I was just going to say, yeah, that glow. And
a lot of people mistake the air glow sometimes for aurora, like northern lights, but
I could see why. Yeah.
It adds a really good like atmosphere to the image.
It does. And Joe is typing in here, my daughter works as a resource steward for Ontario Parks, and she has been sent to the Barrens to control the problems. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's traffic jams and problems when the moose show up along the highway, and then when the Northern Lights can kind of do almost the same thing. So, anyways, I tip my hat to your daughter there. That's helping keep everybody safe and behaving.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Ooh. All right. And in this one, we've got who's that in this photo?
This is a selfie, I guess you would call it.
I love it.
And this is one of the nights, I believe Ken may have been there, Richard may have been there, Steve may have been there. We've all been out shooting together so many times.
Yeah.
But it's right near Cache Lake.
Yes. Okay.
The portage right off the highway. You can see the staircase here in the front of it, the foreground.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with a little light, taking multiple long exposures. One to expose the foreground, one to expose the sky.
Wow.
But again, that adds wearing the orange jacket to try to give you more light, more color. The light to draw in.
Wow. Joe's writing photofill of is it photofill or photopill?
Photo pills.
Photo pills. Yeah. So Joe says that's a great app. Corey typing in, love this one. Tabby also complimenting you with the comment.
I think this is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Just it ended up perfect in all the angles. I loved it.
The angles and the composition and just everything really. Yeah. Susan's typing in, I know that spot.
Well, the model's very attractive in it too, so that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Just amazing. Yeah, what an unconventional selfie. I love it. Okay, and we're looking at a panorama here, is that right?
Yes. And everybody will know this spot as well. If you've been to Algonquin Park, this is Opeongo Road.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like this kind of became one of the go-to spots for night photography.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this was, again, probably in my earlier time. I think this was one of my first fully successful panoramas.
Wow.
I've captured ones before this, but this one was just amazing. I went out. I think I just purchased the 6D.
Okay.
And I believe this is a 12-shot pano. Not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it's a little over 180 degrees of the sky, so you can see the Northern Lights and the Milky Way.
That's
Wasn't I there with you? I was there with you with this shot, wasn't I, Wes?
Yeah, again, I think all of you may have been there.
Wow.
It's so fun going out and shooting with friends, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Especially when those noises in the bush.
Grunting, eh? Yeah. Northern Lights and Milky Way. That's like having Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews on the same line. Wow. Helen's typing in, love this one. It looks so good in metal, hanging at the musher. This is the one hanging at the musher.
This may have been hanging at the musher at one point. Is it still there? I do have a metal one in here that's about 5 feet long.
Wow.
But yeah, it looks incredible on metal.
So
I feel like the sky's dancing.
Yes, yeah, it's just unbelievable. It makes you do a double take. Wow. Okay, so this next photo here, is this the observatory that Richard was talking about, or is this something else?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, this was Steve actually has another picture from another awesome photographer, Brian from Vermont.
Yeah.
And he came up from Vermont, and we stayed at the radio observatory. And I remember that night waking up and freaking out as usual on the Northern Lights. And I was just looking through the library at the radio observatory, and you could see it dancing. And we didn't, I think Randy
That
may
was
have been
3
there.
o'clock in the morning, Wes, when you woke up and woke us all up.
Yeah. Wow.
And Randy won't forgive me for it.
No.
Wow.
We went out, and to this day, this is one of the best Northern Lights displays I had ever seen.
Wow.
And that could be like that dish in the background is 150 feet, so it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there, let alone with the aurora. Like,
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, Joe's typing in just 3 letters. Wow. Susan Susan says, yes, always wanted to go there, but the canyon will only be accessible now.
yeah, one of my favorite places.
Very cool. I also love that area. I love Lake Trevere Road. It's one of the best spots in the park. That little
Very
corner.
peaceful.
Yeah, very peaceful. Very peaceful. Absolutely. Okay, this one, you're in a plane.
And this one, I believe Steve was sitting beside me on the plane.
Yeah.
And we were on our way to Iceland.
Wow.
And I remember looking out the window and freaking out. Like, the northern lights were just incredible. And then I was the hardest part of it was the reflection in the window, like trying to block it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, I remember watching it just like blaze across the sky. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had never flown outside of North America before.
Right.
So I was like, technically, this is the first time of me seeing the ocean.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But to see the aurora was just incredible. And then I couldn't believe I could photograph it from the plane.
Yeah. What's mind blowing is you've got northern lights and you're looking at clouds from above. Like that's a pretty exotic perspective to have, right? Yeah. Susan says, "What a fantastic moment! Lucky you."
And this is why you pay extra for a window seat.
Right. Photographers understand this, right?
I just love the view out the window. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I love the. I don't know if this is like a low tide or like a Lake Mead situation, but I love the absurdity of the beach boat.
I believe it's the oldest steel shipwreck in Iceland.
Oh, okay.
And this was with the trip with Steve and I. We lived in a van for 2 weeks.
Right.
And we drove around everywhere. Like, I think this was up in the Western Fjords.
Okay.
And if you actually look, there's a dark sky etiquette here, because if you look under the Milky Way to the left, there's a little red light.
Yeah.
That's Steve. So you can see Steve photographing the ship.
Right. Right.
I have a question
And
for you, Les.
it took a very long time to get to this location, but it was on my list. Like, I needed to go there.
Yeah, I could see why. Yeah, it sounds like Kenny has a question.
Is that Airglow and the Northern Lights? Or is that all
I believe it
Northern
may
Lights?
be Airglow and the Northern Lights. I'm not sure, because like a lot of the night, it was actually very faint aurora.
Okay.
It wasn't like, I've seen better in Canada. So,
Yeah. It's a killer photo. The reflection is just unbelievable.
and I believe it's a 3-shot, and then right after here, I broke my lens.
Oh no.
And then, like, so you can see on the left-hand side, there's like a little kind of creek.
Yeah.
I went to jump across it in the middle of the night
Yeah.
to get closer to where Steve was,
And
and fell onto rocks. It ejected out of my tripod.
oh.
And as a photographer, especially at night, we live and learn, right?
Yeah.
But I get so excited. It's like, oh, I got to get over there quick, get that shot.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Oh my
See you later, 24 millimeter.
Yeah. Ooh.
But yeah, it's amazing, Iceland. I would go back any day.
Yeah. Susan says, "Ouch, big time." Yeah.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of us have lost. Well, I've lost cameras, lenses, and all of it during night photography.
Yeah. Battle scars, right?
Was it worth it? 100%.
100%. Yeah. Okay, so what continent are we on here?
We're back in Iceland for another trip,
Yeah.
and this time I'm at the eastern part, and like it's called Vestrahorn.
Okay.
And Steve and I went there on our trip, but it was just cloudy, like so cloudy you couldn't even see the mountain. And then my next trip I could see it, and then we were like, there wasn't even supposed to be northern lights. Went there, and there was a big group of photographers that I had never met. We all became good friends, and next thing you know, you get it over this absolutely incredible mountain. And to me, it just looked so surreal. So I set up one camera, and then ran the dunes, the black sand dunes, and set up the camera and stood behind it. So this is another selfie.
And is this? I think this might be the final image of your presentation today. Is that right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think
Yep.
so. Yep. Wow. Just amazing.
So yeah, definitely everybody should go out and photograph the night sky. It's so fun.
Yeah. And are you still teaching night sky photography?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I lead private guides and workshops.
Private
But I'm not doing any workshops this year, so just private guiding mostly.
Okay. Yeah.
Possibly
Super.
doing workshops, but we'll find out later.
Super. Yeah. So if people want to purchase any of your photos or book a guide, they can just visit your website, cowboywiththecamera.com, right?
Yep.
Pretty
much every Instagram, Facebook. I'm not on social media too much now, right now, but
yeah.
it's Cowboy with the Camera pretty much everywhere.
Awesome. Okay, and Corey says, awesome series, Wes. Thank you. Tabby says, thank you. Joe also says, thank you very much. You have inspired me a lot.
Thank you all for being here.
And thank you for being here.
And thank you all the other presenters, because everybody here is amazing. So.
It's, a huge source of inspiration here tonight. And speaking of other presenters, Kenny, do we have you there backstage in the wings?
Yeah, I'm making my way out right now.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so let me get your images up here. Very excited to have you on the program here. You might be the only presenter that has a dark sky tattoo, and that is a level of credibility that I don't think anybody else can pull off.
No, it was a long time. A lot of inspiration from people.
Yeah. Awesome. And when did your journey of photography begin?
Well, my mentor is, I don't know how I got to follow him up. It'd be hard to follow Wesley.
Yeah.
Wesley's the whole reason of introduction to Algonquin Park for me.
Wow.
And the reason why I got into night sky.
Wow.
And probably wildlife.
Yeah.
And so he taught me pretty much everything I know, and I hope I do him good by having my work presented.
Yeah. You're the protege.
Yeah.
That's great. And so we can check out more of your work at True North Image at Instagram, right?
For sure.
Super awesome. Yeah, so for all the viewers that are watching out there, we're just about to jump into Kenny's presentation, but yeah, please do check out, follow, and support True North Image at Instagram. So yeah, let's jump into it. So what is going on here? Tell me more about this image. Are we looking at meteorites or comets?
This is a meteorite shower. This is the Perseids on Opiongo,
Nice.
just after the bridge. The silhouettes of the trees are very iconic in a lot of photos. That one was, we were getting ready to go down to lay down at the dock.
Yeah.
And this was one of the photos with me, Wesley, Steve. Steve left early, and then there was a guy named Russell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just meteor, and we decided just to, hey, let's go lay on the dock and set up the cameras and just watch them fall.
Yeah, why not?
It's the beauty of the night sky.
Wow. And now you've got, how many meteors do we have here? We've got multiple ones?
No, there's two satellites in the photo.
Oh,
And then there's the meteor. The two in the top above the tree, those are satellites. You can pretty much pick out a satellite in a photo by looking at the next photo. If it's still there, it's a satellite. If it's not there, it was a meteor.
Yeah.
Because the meteor is there like split second and it's gone.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's so interesting that you say that because, you know, in Wes's presentation, we were talking about how we are losing a true dark sky all over the world.
Yes.
And then and that's due to development, right? Human development encroaching on habitats, wild habitats.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I feel like we're entering this new phase of dark sky observation. And that is the fact that we're going to have, I mean, we have a ton of satellites up in the sky now, and I'm sure that we're just going to get more satellites are going to be up in the sky. So like, it kind of really makes me worry about what dark sky photography is going to be like in even 10 years, because we're looking at how many satellites did you say are here? Is it 2, 3?
Well, there's about 5 in this photo.
5, right? And
it just makes for editing, it will make editing a lot more. It would take longer.
Right. You're right. Yes, you can edit them out.
But it takes a long time, right? Like,
It does, yeah. And I mean, there is also something so much cooler about just the purity of a photo when you don't have to edit as much, right?
Yeah. Well, plus kind of take away from the photo when you edit, because some people like myself, I kind of like to perfect things, and then you can actually nitpick your own photo and be like, I don't even like this anymore.
Yeah. It's like you chip. It's like, how does the sculptor know when to finish chipping away at the sculpture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful image. Love the portrait orientation as well, and the fact that you got that killer comment down there in the bottom right. Just awesome. All right, let's go on to our next one here. Oh, star trails. Yes. Very.
So the star trails. This one was done at our cottage we used to have up in Muskoka, just down the street from Wesley's house. And I was just bored one night. I decided to take the camera out and take a couple hundred shots and see what I could do. Something I'd never tried before, and I thought the trees made a nice silhouette beside it.
Yeah.
And I went from there. I didn't want to go to the direct north. I kind of wanted to cut it off a bit, have that half quarter circle look. It's kind of going something artsy here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, they a lot of times, like I've heard the expression windswept pines a lot.
Yeah.
So like what I'm feeling here is like that windswept feeling of the pine tree. It's almost connecting with your star trails, you know?
Yeah, the fire tree there definitely looks like it's just wisping away with the stars.
Exactly. And I like how you use the trees as a little bit of a framing device here as well.
Yeah. That's we had a perfect like landscape in that area.
Yeah.
And the trees always made for like just the perfect setting. Andromeda used to sit in between there, and you could just sit out there all night long and just watch it get bigger and bigger, because this was in the Torrance Barrens, was actually a dark sky. This is actually just down the road from there. And this is when you actually had a nice dark sky there.
Yeah. Absolutely cool. All right, let's go on to our next one here. Ooh. Neat. All right, is this an Algonquin?
This is in Algonquin. This is, I can't even, this is the place behind Steve's, the
Trestle?
what's that place called, Steve? Yes.
This is the Trestle? Okay, yeah, great spot. Awesome spot to take night sky stuff.
Yeah, this was, we were out, actually this is during Neowise. I turned to the other side to take a couple pictures of the Milky Way here, the Dark Horse, and the core. And I've always been fascinated by what the Milky Way looked like from the first time Wesley took me up there.
Yeah.
And you can see it at Lake of Two Rivers, and you can see it with like your bare naked eye. You're like, what? This isn't real.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be able to see it. You just shouldn't be able to see something like that with your naked eye. And there's a lot of people that need to get out there to see this before you can't.
Yeah, and I feel like that time is coming way too soon.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what time of day or what time of night is this taken at?
This had to have been, I could say sometime between 11 and midnight.
Wow, okay. And it is just fascinating to see the reflection of the night sky in the water. Like,
yeah,
it almost looks like this is dusk, right? But it's not, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
The coloring's not exactly like to spec. I did orange it a bit and red it a bit.
Yeah.
Because this is just a single photo. It's not like double stacked or anything. This is just like a 20-second photo.
Right.
And so I wanted to add a little bit more of the contrast to it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the stacking ability as like Richard or Wesley. I'm still learning that. I haven't been doing a lot of night sky for all that long, as a long period of time.
Right.
I don't live in an area where we get a lot of dark skies or the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I get out, there's always like, maybe 5 times a year.
Yeah.
So I did have to add in some artificial coloring there to make it look like that.
Yeah. Of course. Which is totally cool. I mean, that's the whole part of the post-processing process. I mean, like even all of the other photos that we've looked at, like there was still, I'm sure, adjustments that have been made, whether it's in the color department or lighting, sharpness.
Yeah.
But and this is just a single image, right? It's not one of these composites with the tracking device and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I can't say that I have a photo in my dark sky portfolio is very small. It's very limited. It might be just a handful of images. I have nothing like this. So cool. Oh yeah, like I said, I love the reflection of the stars in the water. And are we looking at campsites or cottages here?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Wesley. Is this called Little Heaven Island? It's in Port Carling.
I feel like, yes, I think it's called Little Heaven Island. Because it blew my mind that it was sitting under the core.
I know.
That is so cool, yeah.
So this is one of those trips where Wesley and I were bored.
Yeah.
And we decided to go on just a road trip down the street, do some night sky. This is one of the road trips Wesley actually broke his 14 millimeter lens.
It's like this a list of casualties in Wesley's kit.
Oh, there is. But yeah, this is called Little Heaven Island.
Uh-huh.
It's in Port Carling. Single shot with a 35 mil lens. The light behind there would most likely just be Bracebridge Gravenhurst combined. But yeah, this is down the street. Lake was nice and calm. Went for a drive. We didn't want to go up to Algonquin that night because I think it was supposed to rain or something.
Yeah.
Later on, and we just decided to stay around the cottage and the house and to see what we could get around light pollution.
Yeah. It seems to be a theme. Like even in Algonquin Park, you have to think about what direction you're going to be pointing your camera because of light pollution. It might be way off in the distance, but you still got to take it into consideration, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I just got to get my cat.
That's okay. Yeah, you go ahead. We still got a few more images, but it's no problem to wait. So cool. We are cat people, so we understand. Yeah. Susan says Rain Lake Road is freaking awesome. That could be another good location. I've only been to Rain Lake once, but I'd love to go back.
Up in Brent is really dark.
Brent is dark? Yeah, Brent would be dark too. Now, Brent, so if I go to Brent, which way do you recommend that I shoot? Like north, east, southwest?
Brent, you could almost shoot every way.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, let me take a guess. This is Spruce Bog.
It is.
All right. Yes, I get
Spruce Bog. Neil Wise is in at the top, lighting up the Christmas tree.
Yeah, you're right.
It was quite the sight to see.
Yeah.
We stopped a whole bunch of different places. Probably has to be one of my favorite photos of the night. You got the bridge, the reflection. The only thing that could have happened this night is if the Northern Lights popped up.
I know. We all wish for that, right?
But this is probably one of my favorite photos. I like the landscape. It's weird. I usually do a lot of portrait.
Yeah.
And Wesley and my wife have been like, you gotta start doing landscape. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I did landscape a lot this night, and it came out sharp. I was actually surprised because I don't think I had my mirrorless at this point, and I was just trying to get the tack sharp of the lens to get it. And when I got this photo, I was like pretty much waving my hands. I was like, oh, I'm done for the night. Photo.
Yeah, I've accomplished what I set out to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the vegetation looks pretty green here. Is this in the springtime or summertime?
That's Photoshop.
Oh, all right. So you brought out those greens then.
I didn't bring out the greens. I brought the foreground a little bit brighter.
Right.
Then the background, I kind of darkened the background, brought the foreground a bit brighter. Sharpened the front just to give you that nice sharp look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Added a lot of detail to make everything kind of pop in the foreground.
Awesome. Corey says beautiful.
Thank you.
Susan says, oh yes. Awesome. Oh yeah. Another meteorite here.
So this was a fun, cold, probably 13 hours with Wesley and Russell.
Cold.
Wesley and Richard.
There's no ice on the lake. That can't be cold.
No, this was early. This was early April.
Okay. Yeah.
And I actually have a video of this because we were all sitting there and we were all facing the same direction.
Yeah.
And this meteor came right into the sky and just like evaporated on itself. And you saw the blowback with like your bare eyes. And none of us wanted to run to the cameras to see if we actually got that.
Okay.
Because we just wanted to wait a few more seconds. And I was just like, I got to go see if I got that. And I think I was the only one who got it.
Wow.
But we were out there all night till the morning. And I don't think we got to Erica's fast enough to get a hot coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when it's that cold, it's actually amazing how much a warm beverage will warm you up.
Oh yeah.
Or vice versa. If you drink something cold in the wintertime, like it makes a big difference to your core temperature. Yeah.
Yeah. This was probably one of the best times that I had up there because it was one of my first times actually doing a whole night of shooting the night sky. There was no Milky Way in the sky. Like, I guess you could kind of see like the northern tip of it in this photo a bit.
Yeah.
But I never heard somebody scream so loud in my life. And if there was like residents in Algonquin Park, Wesley would have gotten a lot of trouble. Like, I think the bears got out of hibernation that night.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is that? The orange glow in the bottom right?
That's Whitney. No, it's
That's Whitney.
what is that? Barry's Bay?
No, that's gonna be either Dorset or Dwight, probably.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
that's
around here.
that's in the west.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it might be Dorset.
Might be
Or
Dorset.
Dwight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know, I've had conversations with people that have never heard of the concept of a dark sky. And I try to explain to them that, yeah, like you can see towns as small as Whitney in the horizon. And case in point, like Dorset, not a massive place, right? But nevertheless,
not at all.
it still makes an impact on the dark sky landscape, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's because that's a lot of glow on the horizon.
That's so much. It looks like the sun rising.
Yeah.
There are clouds in the sky in this case, which will reflect more lights.
Will it?
As opposed to if there was no clouds there.
Okay.
You raise a great point. You're right. That will probably have a certain kind. It's almost like a filter effect, I guess, with the clouds, with some kind of artificial lighting, right?
We'll say it just reflects the light back down. Like say, Wes and I were out shooting around the Hamilton area one time doing some waterfall photography. So we went out to a place to do some night skies stuff, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was sort of clouded over at one point, and the lights reflecting off of the from Toronto and Burlington and Oakville and all that.
Yeah.
It was just incredible the way the lights just kind of reflected back down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Susan says, nice burnout. Dorset for sure, especially with the clouds reflecting. Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely awesome. And I think that's the final photo from your presentation today, eh?
Yeah, I believe so.
Awesome. Oh, can we have a closer look of your amazing night sky photography tattoo? If you're okay with that.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll even explain a bit.
Yeah, please.
So this here is a campsite Wesley and I stayed at in Algonquin Park,
Wow.
Melee.
Yeah.
The alien, I believe, is my ancestor.
Yeah.
But then we got Galaxy, another Galaxy.
Yeah.
Wesley's photo right there.
That is mind blowing.
And then I got the God's Eye Nebula.
Yeah.
This is actually a photo of Paul Ziska, really good photographer. It's his Northern Lights.
Cool.
And then I got a bit of the Milky Way on the back here. That goes up.
So cool. That's so cool. I can't say
49 hours.
I don't know if I've met anybody that has a dark sky tattoo. I think that's just absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So cool. Amazing. All right. Susan says, thank you, Ken. And yeah, thank you so much for participating today. I know you're a first-time presenter here on the stream, and we're just absolutely happy to have you here. And
Happy to be here.
it's True North Image at Instagram if you want to check out more of Kenny's work and to maybe drop a follow or a like and show some love and support. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right. And then we've got one more presenter here, and that's going to be my co-planner of Howl, Steve Dunsford. Are you there on the call, Steve?
I'm here, yeah.
All right. Awesome. Happy to have you here as always. Give me a moment here to bring up your photos. Where are we here? On my desktop. And here we go. Let's jump into it here. So I'm not sure if I've got the intended order, and also
No, it doesn't really.
okay, you're okay with
That's
the random
any
order?
order's
All
fine.
right. Super. And for the folks out there watching, we can catch more of your work at impressionsofalgonquingallery.com, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. And of course, Steve also owns the Mad Musher restaurant here right in Whitney, and that's also another place where you can not only see Steve's work on the walls of the Mad Musher, but you also have postcards and a lot of your prints there for sale.
Yep.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
Well, first of all, I just want to do a prelude to this, that about 12 years ago, explain my beginnings of night sky photography. About 12 years ago, this guy posted on the Algonquin Park page on Facebook that he's going up to Algonquin Park to do some night sky photography. And so I said, oh, well, that's my backyard.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'll join up. So we made arrangements to meet up at the art gallery, and it was Wesley, and we've been friends since then. And oh, we're closed. Yeah. No. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, look at that. There's somebody wandering into the Mad Musher looking for food, but they're closed.
Yeah.
Bongo Pic's Tavern is also closed. I'm sorry, people.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And you know what? I don't even know if there's a restaurant open in Bancroft or Barry's Bay.
Yeah. So anyway, we met up at the art gallery there, and
Cool.
Wes kind of guided me along because I had no clue of how to take a night sky shot. So he helped set up my settings, and then for a few hours we took photos there, and then after that we hung out and have done a lot of traveling together to around Ontario, the Great Lakes, and then Iceland, as Wes mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually a trip that we did around Lake Superior, and this was at the tail end, and the Northern Lights were active 2 nights in a row, all night long. And Wes had the great idea that, well, let's not bother booking a hotel room or motel room. Let's just go and photograph the Northern Lights all night, which is exactly what we did. From about 10 o'clock at night till like 4 in the morning. And this was I think this was Wawa. This was the second night.
Yeah.
Both nights we had really good Northern Lights and a meteor shower too. So we're getting all these meteors happening. It was like incredible. And I got this shot. We took hundreds or thousands of shots, and I went back to the car to take a break, and all I could hear is this big scream, like, holy cow. And it was this big meteor gone by. Of course, I missed it, but Wes managed to capture it in his photo. And so we kept going, and then I yell over to Wes. He's a little ways away from me, and I said, well, it was getting kind of misty and pretty late. So, well, do you want to pack it in? And I didn't get any response. I go, oh crap, what's going on? And so I go over there and I'm yelling, Wes, and he's in the sleeping bag, and I had to go right up and yell as loud as I could. And he finally woke up and said, I think we have to get going, because it's like you could hardly see anything. It was all misty. So we did anyway. And then from Wawa we drove all the way back to Whitney nonstop after being up all night, basically being up 2 nights in a row with a few hours of sleep. It was pretty
wow. Troopers. That's a really cool story, and Susan also says great story as well. No, that's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's when I'm looking at this photo, when I first looked at it, I thought there's something different about this shoreline, and that's got to be a signature of the Lake Superior area, eh?
Yeah, this was actually at a sort of like a reservoir lake where there and it was really rocky there on the one side. But yeah, it was really neat, really interesting location. And of course we got the good reflections of the northern lights and the meteors too as they flew around. And there was the one meteor that went by, like, it was right when we got there, and it flew through the sky for the longest time. And it just looks like a white line though on my photo. It looks kind of weird, but yeah, it was an awesome trip. We went out through the southern part of Lake Superior on the way out through the States, and then came back through Canada. And yeah, it was an amazing trip. Lots of good memories on it.
Oh, for sure. And lots of good stories too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, wow, you really started your night sky photography career with a bang. All right. Wow.
So this is a trip I had some friends in Northwest Territories at the north arm of Great Slave Lake.
Okay.
And I might have shown some of these ones before, I don't remember, but this one here, like, I had to take a back of the camera shot to send to Wes to show him that not only was I getting northern lights, but it was a full moon too, and the lights were around the full moon. It was pretty amazing, actually. We're out on, I can't remember the lake. This was not Great Slave Lake. This was a lake near there. And we were driving on the ice road, actually. And then my friend stopped and said, oh, look at the northern lights are active. Of course, I had to get out and take a bunch of shots, but they were out too looking at it. So yeah, it was amazing. Like that, I really like to go back up to the Arctic again, like the Northwest Territories or Yukon or something. And because this is like a full moon, so there was a lot of light pollution. I was still seeing amazing light show, and it was like maybe KP3 or so. It wasn't even like anything like we had. And where the oval goes over the spot, you can actually photograph the lights to the north and to the south as they run, and which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's almost a contradiction to have really good northern lights with a full moon.
Yeah,
I guess it just shows you the strength of the northern lights.
Oh yeah, up there is pretty amazing.
Wow. This is a part of the world, a part of Canada that I really want to go to and visit. Definitely on my bucket list. Oh. Okay, so a dock. Ooh. Is this in Whitney?
Yep. So this is like, I think everybody's has had one photo at the trestle there, and this was just before the trestle actually, and getting the Milky Way with, I guess, Whitney light pollution there, and yeah, just a neat, interesting foreground, something that recognizable for people in town here. And
yeah, and a dynamite Milky Way. Wow.
Yeah, and it's still pretty visible, even once you just get out of the town a bit. It doesn't you can see it quite well.
Yeah.
And the nice part about this and along the trestle there is you can, you know, shoot north and south. You have a good viewpoint there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People laugh at me when I say, oh, yeah, there's light pollution in Whitney, but a case like this, the proof is right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's I was photographing at Lake of Two Rivers, and afterwards when I looked at my photo on the computer, I could see this little, I think I mentioned another live stream that there's this little dot of light like on this in the trees, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And so a while later I walked into Killarney Lodge, and there's a phone booth there with a light on, and that's what I was picking up. That's amazing how, like, I was, you know, if you're fairly far away, and that little light was, my camera was picking it up.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Susan says, awesome. And Joe says, great picture, Steve.
Yeah, it's nice to try and get, like, we all try to get like different compositions, different foregrounds to make it a little more interesting. Make the photos a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even the other presenters mentioned that sometimes, unfortunately, the human changes that we've made to the landscape can make photos interesting as well. Okay,
So
this one's
Mhm.
recent, right?
Yep, this was from last week, and actually about at the very beginning of March, there was another good display of Northern Lights, and we had such a busy weekend here. I was just like totally exhausted, and it was Sunday night, and I walked out and I could see the Northern Lights like going shimmering over the restaurant, and I couldn't even have the energy to get my camera out to go shoot them. So I just went home and went to bed. But then the next morning I thought, damn, I should have at least got out onto the parking lot and took a few shots. And so I thought, you know what, next time the Northern Lights are active, there's some good activity, I'm going to do that. Well, like a few nights ago, they were crazy. And I went out, and so there was a little bit of Northern Lights, and I went back in, did a little bit more work, came back out, and a couple of people were texting me, Wes and that, and said, oh, they're really good now. So I went out, and they were unbelievable. And yeah, I was able to get the shot that I wanted to get for a long time, because I knew that like basically north was behind the restaurant there, a little to the left, but it didn't matter that night. You could shoot east, west, north, straight up, you would get Northern Lights. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, Susan says the best ever. Tabby says nice.
Yeah, it was a pretty amazing night. We're actually all texting each other. We're all in different locations all over Ontario. Niagara, Ken was shooting them, and West, and we're like, oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah, Helen says so awesome.
Yeah, Helen.
Yeah.
She was shooting
I
them.
have a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
When you read Wesley's message, did you actually read it as like in his voice yelling?
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I felt like we were, even though we were all away from each other, it felt like we were all connected, and I could just hear Wes going, man, look at that. And then, whoa,
Oh my god.
I could almost hear it, I think, too, you know, like
I know.
like
Yeah.
for real.
It was like a historic night for photography.
Oh, it was. And it seems to be like there's cycles, solar cycles, and we were kind of in a quieter cycle for a bit, but I think Wes would know more about it, but it seems like we're definitely going into a more active cycle.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah,
To me. Bring it on.
Yeah, we're getting towards solar max, so
Yeah.
Cool.
it'll be some good show. I don't know if it'll be that good of a show again for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we'll definitely have some all-nighters coming up, all of us together, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joe says, great shot. Nice to see something recognizable. Susan says, I couldn't believe Dunville was seeing them. And another comment here for Steve, the best advertising ever. And did I hear you say that this is part of a new business card that you've created?
Yeah, I just ordered some business cards with this, and then I actually am gonna get printed out, and yeah, it's pretty cool for marketing too. But
Yeah.
it's basically my home because I'm here most of the time.
Hey, it's the small business lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is another familiar Whitney location on Erie Road, right?
Yeah, so I took a bunch of shots of the restaurant, and I thought, okay, now where am I going to go? So I thought, oh, I'll go up to the trestle, and then at that house there, McRae's house, I think, isn't it?
I think
And
so.
they, yeah, I can see the lights behind there, and they had these Christmas lights still up on a couple of their trees. So I thought, oh, that could be kind of neat. And at first there was no reds in the sky, and then I kept shooting, and then kind of got the reds out. And I think it looks kind of neat with the lighting in front of the house there, and then the northern lights in behind there. So, and then when I was actually not right here, but then I went out onto the trestle, did a few shots, and then the clouds moved in, unfortunately. But there was a wolf pack howling like crazy, probably up near the ski trail. I would say it was in the northwest. I would say up by, past the east gate. It was quite far, but very, very. I could hear them very clearly, and like a bunch of wolves.
Okay, so you had the wolf howl on the extreme northern light night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were going nuts.
That's a double. That's like a grand slam.
That happens often, actually. Like, because I guess the animals too are affected by it, and in the summer and in the warmer season, like often you'll hear loons calling as the lights peak in that, and I've heard like other birds calling too.
Wow, I did not know that. That's really cool. I guess the animals really appreciate the light show too. Yeah. Okay. Susan says yes, like at Kearney Lake years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's right. Wes was there. There was a bunch of us, and the wolf pack started howling and like crazy there.
Yeah. Susan says my friends were freaking out. Helen says the barred owls were going nuts during the northern lights there. That's so interesting. Wow.
I feel like they see it.
Yeah, and the energy. They must feel the energy, and they see it too. That. Right. So this is another shot from the Northwest Territories, just behind where my friends lived in a little subdivision, and I spent a few nights out there, like taking shots of the lights, and they would kind of start. It was interesting because they would start at the sort of the southeast horizon, and then slowly move over, and as it got right above me, the light just went crazy and split off into all these different little lights all over, and then it would move more to my left, and then it would kind of start over again. It did that like over and over and over, and at this point I had to text Wes a back of camera shot, and he said, oh, I'm photographing them too. He was getting shots of them, like the sides of the lights, and I was right under them getting shots. So that was kind of neat. Right.
Wow, you're getting a lot of comments on this one. Beautiful from Corey. Susan says, this is talking about wildlife reacting to lights. Yes, I had a saw-whet once when we had lights earlier. Helen says in capital letters, love this one, Steve. And Tabby also chiming in with beautiful. And I agree.
Nice.
And the other thing, like, you can tell that this is quite far north because look at those trees. They look tiny.
Yeah, the black spruce are like spindly little trees.
Right? Well, because you're approaching the tree line, right?
Yeah.
But it looks like a painting.
I was hoping they have bison that wander around that area. I was kind of hoping that the bison would wander around in front of me so I could get a shot of the bison with the northern lights, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
That would be epic. Yeah. I love how the trees are poking into the northern lights here, and I love that they're so sparse as well.
Yeah,
that's really fantastic.
And of course the moon lit up the whole scenery too. Like you actually
can see the moon shadows, right?
Yeah, the shadows are from the moon.
Amazing. I think this is the last one that you're going to be presenting with us here today. Are we back to Algonquin in this one?
Nope, this is Poverty Lake.
Oh, right.
And yeah, and I think I was here with, I think you were there, Ken and Wes, on that night, and there was wasn't that the night there was like a lightning storm in the south? We kept seeing these flashes near the Milky Way.
Yep.
And then and meteor. That was I actually caught a meteor in the left-hand side there. It's a nice location, and just outside town here. Not a lot of light pollution. Well, there's some, but it's pretty cool.
And what a sharp comment that is. Wow. Or
Meteor, yeah.
Okay, I have a super ignorant question. What is there a difference between a meteorite and a comet?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, the meteors are.
me.
So meteors just like a small piece of rock or whatever. Some can be bigger, and they just usually burn up in the atmosphere. Some make it to the ground, but they're very quick. Whereas a comet is one that orbits around the sun, and some of them you see every few years. Some it could be hundreds or thousands of years because their orbit is so big.
Okay.
The comets will usually create a really neat tail where, as they get closer to the sun, and that gets kind of fades out as it gets further away from the comet. The tail fades out.
Beautiful, and of course we love it when they appear in our photos, right?
Yeah. Either meteor or comets or. Before years ago, I saw Hale Bob. And that was a really good comet, really visible, but I wasn't into night photography or photography that much. But I was out on a dog sledding trip at Madawaska Lake, and we all walked out onto the lake, and like there was no light pollution out there. And the comet was so clear, and you could see the tail and everything. It was just amazing.
Wow. And that's the other really special thing about night sky photography is that you have these major events that are on a very infrequent schedule, and then for you to catch it and to be there and to get a photo of it, that's such a special memory, right? Yeah. I know a couple Richard and Wes on the line here. I think the two of you went to the Carolinas, was it, to take photos of the eclipse or whatever the event was that was happening there?
Yeah, we went to South Carolina, photographed the solar eclipse in 2017, I believe.
Yeah. And you displayed those photos a while back in a previous stream, if I'm not mistaken. I think you may have.
I'll take your. Yeah, I think I did the one shot.
Yeah. I remember you telling me a story, anyways, about Wes's loud expression of euphoria. When Diamond Ring. See, you did present that Diamond Ring or Totality, whatever it was. I think it was Diamond Ring. Yeah.
Hey Bongo.
Yeah. Hey.
We should have a whole howl about Wesley's expressions on photo.
Yeah, I could do that, and then I could record them, and then when we do our next stream, I could just play them like these little sound bites.
You know what? It does. It makes for the best nights out for photography when the group of people are together. Everybody has the same expression. One person might be louder than the other, but in the end, it's all the same, like, common goal. We just want to hang out, have a good time, and get the photos we can get.
That's right. Yeah, and it's even better when you're with like-minded people that respect the outdoors, respect other shooters out there too. So that's really what we want to do is to continue growing this community of like-minded photographers that are ethical, that are considerate, that are mindful. So thank you everybody today for joining us for the stream and presenting. Some more comments here. Tabby, beautiful. Susan says, awesome. Joe says, beautiful. And thanks very much, Steve. It has been a pleasure communicating with you when I was working on the west boundary of Algonquin Park. So we've got some neat connections out there. Susan also says, thank you, Steve. So awesome. I don't know if anybody has any other kind of parting comments of the folks that we have on the call here. I don't know if there's any other words of wisdom or words of encouragement or inspiration that anybody wants to impart.
Get out and try, because you never know what you're going to get. And the worst things that happen, you get a black picture.
Fantastic.
I think just going out at night, and even if you aren't photographing anything, to see what's out there. Like if you only see the world in daylight hours, you're missing a whole lot. And obviously trying to get away from, if you're in a city, to a darker area to see more. But there's just so much to see. At any time of the year, the sky is always there, and you can go in the winter, summer, spring, or fall. And like, if you happen to see the Northern Lights, great, or the Milky Way, or it's just an amazing experience. It's so different. It's quiet and peaceful if you're in a quieter area, but it's a whole different world at night.
It is.
It lets you reflect.
Yeah,
you get to sit back and reflect on a lot of things, and that's one of the main things that a lot of people don't do nowadays, is just sit back and take a moment to realize everything else that has come and gone, past, present, future. You got your friends, you got everything, and when you just sit back and look at the sky, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Really makes you feel small.
It
In a
does.
good way. In a good way, though.
In a humbling way. I think it's important to be humble, and I think that's what you're getting at, eh, Wes?
Yeah, like looking up at the night sky, I just respect everything more. I find, like, understand, like, well, first of all, we can't be alone. Look at all those.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's and like everybody's saying with light pollution, like everybody needs to at least experience it once in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. All right, and I'm just going to review some of our final comments here. Corey says, such inspiring photos from all the presenters tonight. Tabby says, thanks, Steve. Thank you, Bongo. Well done. Great background music. Okay, well, thank you. Yes, I was DJing the whole time here. A long time to be on camera. Hugs. Susan says, nighttime is so magical. I agree. And Susan also says, hearing wolves is the absolute best. Yes, I agree with that as well. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody again for the stories behind your photographs, for allowing us to present the photographs as well, and just for all of your time. So again, Howl, it's going to happen November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023, right here in Whitney. The most passionate wildlife and nature photographers are gathering. We've got some amazing speakers so far. 3 awesome photographers booked: Johnny Marriott, Sam Stevens, and Jillian A. Brown. We've got live entertainment. The Mad Musher is going to be serving food. We have field trips. It's just going to be a really, really awesome gathering here. And Helen also says, thank you, Bongo, Steve, and all the presenters. Susan says, good night, everybody. So that's going to wrap up our program here tonight. I don't know, Steve, as the co-organizer of Howl, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add before we sign off on the live stream here.
Yeah, no, I just thanks for everybody that presented tonight, and for everybody that tuned in and got to see all our photos and the stories. And we'll be doing it again. We'll be having another live stream sometime in April. We'll have to figure out which date, and we'll let everybody know.
We'll let everybody know on the Howl Wildlife Photo Convention Facebook page. Tabby says, don't forget to hit the like button. That's right. Yeah, if you want to give our page a like or subscribe to the channel, we would appreciate that kindly, because really our goal, like I said a couple times already, we want to, there's photographers can sometimes get a bad reputation because, there's some folks who harass animals, who trample over sensitive ecosystems, who harass other human beings that are also trying to take pictures too. And so we want to spread the good message and to really inspire others to act ethically and just to be mindful and just good people. So that's the vibe that we're really trying to promote here, and we thank everybody for tuning into our content here. All right, we're gonna take off, but thank you again, everybody, and we will post on our next on our Facebook socials when the next stream is coming up. Good night, everybody, and thank you again to all the amazing presenters.